5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. I want to follow up on what one of my colleagues earlier, Mr. Desjardins, was inquiring specifically with regard to single-access trackers as an innovation. It's my understanding that the Department of Energy recognized single-access trackers as an innovation. Is that correct?
As an innovation as it applied to that particular project.
And that particular project was the Antelope Valley Solar Ranch. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I want to just have, if you could take a look at the monitor there. There's a email or a memo from, looks like from Dong Kim to Jeff Walker, where he states specifically, someone keeps changing AVSR, meaning Antelope Valley Solar Ranch, technical slides to include single-access trackers as an innovation. Be clear, this is not an innovation. The record will show that we did not grade this as innovative. Now, would you agree or disagree with that assessment?
Well, this is an email of Dong Kim, and as I tried to explain before, he later, for whatever reason, I don't know the particulars of it, he graded that as is it the world's greatest innovation? Probably.
But he indicated it was not an innovation, and therefore Antelope Valley Solar Ranch got the loan guarantee of, what, $646 million? Wouldn't you say that's a mistake?
Well, you know, he actually wrote up the justification for these things, and ultimately it was a decision he and his group made. And so it was nothing, for example, I or anybody else.
Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Secretary, I just want to make sure we get for the record. The I think it's innovative came first. The I know it's not innovative, stop trying to inject that came later. Could we agree to that? Because your documents delivered to us indicate that clearly he earlier allowed it to be considered innovative, later was overtly objecting to it being called innovative and actually objected to slides being put in that indicated it was innovative when it wasn't. I just want to make sure we get the order right, because the press has been given the assumption that he changed from no to yes, when in fact he changed from, yeah, it looks okay, to hell no.
Well, I actually can't speak to that because, again, I was not party to this back and forth internally within the career folk, and so we will gladly look at the full email chain and get that back to you.
And Mr. Ross, please continue, but we will in fact make sure you have the paper trail you provided us back, so that you understand that this was one of those where it is a $500 million that would not have occurred had you listened to his later guidance. And I'd ask unanimous consent that gentlemen have the additional minute that I took, without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd also like to ask unanimous consent that the memo from Dong Kim, dated August 4th, 2010, to several other recipients be admitted into the record, and I'll submit that to the Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Chu, you indicated in your opening statement that each one of these cases, speaking of criminal indictments, was unacceptable, and we have taken aggressive action to address issues early on and hold responsible parties accountable. Does it just take a criminal indictment to hold somebody responsible and take remedial action, or have you taken remedial action on these other matters that have resulted in absolute failure?
No, absolutely not. If you look at some of, for example, in a very small amount of cases in weatherization, if someone does shoddy workmanship, I'm not sure.
Has anybody been let go as a result of any of these failures? Have you terminated anybody's employment with DOE as a result of these projects, whether it be Solyndra or anybody else?
No.
And loan guarantees.
No, I haven't.
And what remedial action then have you taken to guarantee that this won't happen again? Or have you taken any remedial action?
We have. We've taken remedial action. For example, in the cases where we found shoddy workmanship, things of that nature, we tell the contractor, you've got to go back, you've got to fix it on your own.
And do you still use these same contractors?
In some cases, well, I can't see. This is
I guess what I'm getting at is there has not been an established guidelines that have been implemented as a result of remedial action to be taken to make sure this doesn't happen again. Is that correct?
There were established guidelines, but you have to also understand that in our weatherization programs, we give money to the states give to local organizations. We oversee what the states and those local organizations do, and we have very clear guidelines. If there's any improper work.
So you would be willing to bet then that these instances will not happen again? The Solyndras, the Antelope Valley Solar Ranches, the excessiveness in the weatherization program that have proved to be, as you've seen in the slides, totally abject failures. You're It's your testimony today that you've taken remedial measures to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
We always look to ways of improving both our oversight of the Recovery Act and our oversight of the business we have in the Department of Energy. But it's just as when Macondo happened, and we worked very hard to help stop that leak.
Let me ask you, let me shift real quickly, because I also want to get on this. We talked about oil production, and we talked about oil production being up under this administration. Now, we're talking about crude oil production, correct?
Yes.
We have not increased refined oil production, have we, in the United States?
I actually don't know about that.
Have we been, how much have we been exporting of our crude oil production?
Well,
has that increased under this administration?
I think the correct question you meant to ask was, what are the net imports or exports? Because there's
of crude or refined?
I think both.
Okay, that answer.
Because depending on the refineries, how sour or sweet the crude is, so there's a little bit of going back and forth of crude.
We've increased our exports of refined oil, have we not?
Again,
and would not increase in production, even from the drawing board, as an economist, affect the market rate of crude oil prices, even if it takes 10 years to develop?
The Secretary may answer.
As I said, the thing that affects prices, yes, supply, demand, very, very important. All the things that affect prices are the amount of spare capacity. Other things that affect prices are forward-looking things and nervousness about international events. All of those things affect the international price of oil.
Thank you. I yield back.
I thank the gentleman.